Hello everyone, my name is DIONSCHUDDEBOOM. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Fifine K690 USB microphone. This is a microphone that has 4 polar pickup patterns, making it great for different use cases, all the way from YouTube to podcasts, voiceovers, gaming, Zoom conferencing, and interviews, all of which we'll go over in this review. In addition to this, the microphone has multiple cool features such as the ability to change the microphone's gain or the headphone volume through physical dials. And all of this in a sleek design that comes in at under $90 US. This product was kindly provided by Fifine. However, as always, this is an objective review and all of my thoughts and opinions are my own. Let's start off with the unboxing. So as you can see, this is packaging that's actually very similar to the Fifine K690 that I looked at previously, although this one is definitely more difficult to open. There we go. Alright, so underneath we have the box itself, and as you can see we have this very familiar red and white theme that we've come to see with other Fifine products. Underneath the box lid, let's see, we have the user guide as well as the warranty information. Always good to have, of course, and I can see this user guide actually also includes information on how to set up the microphone, both for Mac as well as Windows. Lifting off this foam padding here, this will reveal everything included, which is the microphone as well as all of its accessories. Now I really like this packaging as it provides a strong protective barrier for the microphone and everything else that's included, as the microphone does not come with a case, but I think this box will actually serve as a great substitute. Alright, so first things first, just like we saw with the previous microphone, we have a microphone stand adapter. Now the microphone itself does come with a stand included, which we will look at, but if say you already have a boom arm, for example, then this adapter will allow you to use it. Next we have what I assume is the USB cable in this little box. There we go. And yes, alright, so we have the USB cable. Now this features a mini USB to regular Type A USB connection. I would have liked to see USB-C, but for the price I can't really complain. The cable feels quite sturdy and I like the metal tips on both connectors. Additionally, the cable is plenty long, coming in at 7 feet. And finally, we have the microphone itself. Let's go ahead and lift this out of the box and take a look. Alright, so lifting this out of the box, I can already tell you that it definitely feels quite heavy for its size, thanks to its all aluminum construction, which is very reassuring. So as you can see in the box, we have the USB cable, the mount adapter, and of course the microphone itself, which is everything you need to get started. Let's take a closer look at the design and features. Now, right off the bat, I have to say I really like this matte black finish. Not only does it look great, but it will also not cast any reflection. So if say you're recording a podcast and you have your microphone in frame, you do not have to worry about unwanted glare. Next is the adjustable stand. I really like to see this included on the mic. It is a sturdy stand that will definitely keep it on the desk and from tipping over. Now this can be adjusted and tightened with these 2 knobs seen on either side and can actually also be removed. What I'm going to do here is unscrew each side of the stand. 1 and 2, and this will allow us to lift the microphone right out and then put it on, say, a boom arm via the threaded input on the bottom. Let's take a look around the microphone. On the front we have the Fifine logo. I always appreciate minimal branding. Then we have an LED indicator which will be green when the microphone is on and it will be red when the mic is on mute. And underneath that we have a physical mute switch. Now I always like to see a hardware switch for muting. This is especially great when conferencing or whilst being on Zoom. And finally we have a hardware dial to control the headphone level. Now this is really nice to see included, as this will allow you to hear the audio live and control the volume of the headphones separately from the microphone. Additionally, the actual dial itself has quite some resistance. Now this is useful as you won't have accidental turns of the dial. Looking at the bottom of the microphone, we have the mini USB input, as well as the mount for the boom arm, and finally the headphone input. Looking around the back of the microphone is where we'll find the actual hardware dial to turn the microphone's gain. This is great to see included directly on the mic versus having to change this in your computer settings. And underneath that we have another dial, and this is what will allow you to switch between those 4 polar patterns. This dial allows you to switch between the cardioid mode, omnidirectional, bi-directional, and stereo modes. Being able to change the polar patterns makes the mic great for many different use cases, but more on that later. But how does the K690 perform? Now, I have high hopes as I had a very positive experience with the K678 that I looked at previously. To test the audio of the K690, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the microphone into my MacBook and then I'll launch Final Cut where I will start an audio recording. To listen to the audio, I'll be listening with my monitoring headphones and this will allow me to give feedback on the spot. Alright, so the first polar pattern that I'm going to be testing is the cardioid polar pattern. Now this will probably be the most common and most used pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my headphones in order to hear the audio live from the microphone, and I'll be switching from my lapel microphone to the Fifine mic so you can also hear the audio as we're running through these tests. What I'm going to do now for the cardioid test is I'm going to record as if this were perfect conditions. So what I'm going to do is turn down the gain slightly, adjust this to where I think it is correct, and then be very close to the mic. I would say I'm anywhere from around 4 to 6 inches away, speaking directly into it. And you can tell me what you think of the audio quality. Listening through the headphones, I'm quite impressed by how clear and crisp the audio is. You can hear the nuances and the smaller details in my voice. Now this polar pattern is great for single person recording, for doing voiceovers or podcasts or even Zoom recordings. As you can see, if I go ahead and turn the microphone, you'll see that my voice gets quieter and quieter as it is only picking up sound from the front of the mic, again making it great for one person. Alright, so next we're going to switch to the omnidirectional polar pattern. Now as the name implies, omnidirectional means it's going to be recording audio from all around the microphone equally. That includes the front, back, and all the sides. Now this is useful if say you're having a conference or you have multiple people in the room which you want to record, where you can put the microphone in the center of a table and record everything that's around you. Let's go ahead and test this out and see how it sounds. So I've got the microphone switched to the omnidirectional polar pattern here, and as you can see, what I'm going to do is just speak into the microphone and turn it as I'm speaking. Now as you can see, as I'm speaking, my voice remains clear as I'm getting to the back, the sides, and then the front of the microphone as well. Now one thing I also noticed with this polar pattern is that the sound of the fan from my light, which I would say is anywhere from around 4 to 5 feet away from the mic, becomes much more loud and present compared to the cardioid polar pattern that we looked at previously. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at the bi-directional polar pattern. Now on the back of the microphone, this is the one that's on the far right, and here we go. So as the name implies, this will record audio from two directions, both the front as well as the back of the microphone. Now you can imagine this being particularly useful if say you're hosting a podcast or an interview with two people, having one person behind the microphone and the other in front of it. Now the difference between the bi-directional polar pattern and say the omnidirectional polar pattern we looked at previously, the bi-directional polar pattern will ignore sounds coming from either side of the microphone. As you can see, if I'm speaking towards the side of the microphone, my voice is present but is nowhere near as clear as say it is if I'm speaking to the front or to the back of the microphone. Finally, we have the stereo polar pattern. Now this will record the sound in two different outputs, one for the left channel and one for the right channel, as all the other polar patterns on the microphone will record in a mono format. Now having a stereo polar pattern means you have that clear separation between the left and right channels. So to demonstrate this, I'm just going to speak from the left to the microphone and then slowly turn it towards the right as I'm speaking into it directly. And as I'm sure you can hear, the audio will travel from the left to the right. I'm hearing this with my headphones now and it's definitely very apparent. Now why would you want to use a polar pattern like this? Well, this is great if say you're recording an instrument or multiple singers, as this will give a broader soundstage and a more accurate sense of where the subjects are placed in the room. Alright, so that is it for the sound test. Here are my thoughts on the performance of the K690. Firstly, having all of those different polar patterns is what makes the microphone so great for many different use cases. The frequency response of this microphone goes all the way from 40 Hz up to 20 kilohertz. Now what this means is that you'll get very clear audio across a range of frequencies, both in your lows, mids, as well as highs. Speaking of frequencies, I found there to be no strong bias to a particular frequency. What this will result in is very lifelike and accurate sound. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on what you think of the sound quality. Would I recommend this microphone? If you're looking for a mic for gaming, podcasts, YouTube, interviews, whether it be just by yourself or even with multiple people, this microphone ticks all the boxes, being very versatile with a strong feature set and a good looking, durable build, all for an attractive price. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, be sure to leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next video.